Hi, ARC friends. I'm here with Avi Golden. Avi, where are you living?
Queens, Kew Garden Hills.
Okay. And I am in Las Vegas, and we are communicating through Uvu, which is a video chat service. So, Avi, you look awfully young to have had a stroke, but do you have aphasia?
No, not at all. Wait, actually, what is it? 7 years ago, I have stroke and aphasia.
Okay. So you're pretty young, and you were working as a paramedic, and you planned to go to med school. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
And then you, like many people, really had your life turned upside down, and not working now as a paramedic or going to med school, but you are making a big difference. And you're a big advocate for people with aphasia, and a lot of people know your name, Avi Golden. So it's good to have you here. So, Avi, if somebody was brand new to aphasia, and they're still in the hospital and they're very afraid, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, the doctor and the nurses come and have difficulty with aphasia, with people with aphasia. So I want to say, first of all, take it slow. Like the doctor says 3 minutes. No. Very deep, slowly, so that people with aphasia understand the doctor and the nurses saying. The other one, sorry.
Go ahead.
So, and another one is doctor or nurses can have a paper with a lot of notes. For example, one example was yes and no, and the is smiley is a nod, a handshake, and a blah blah, and a blah blah. And that way, people with aphasia say yes, or no.
Okay. And I think that's really important, especially in the beginning, because many times, as you know, in the very beginning, there may be no speech at all, and it might be difficult for the person to speak, but it's important that the doctors and nurses also understand it may be difficult in the beginning for the person with aphasia to even understand. So what you're saying is that the doctors and nurses have to slow down, and they need to give a tool for the person with aphasia to be able to do yes and no, and sometimes a thumbs up and a thumbs down, or a smiley face or a frown on a piece of paper is good. And that's because sometimes with people with aphasia, the yes and no verbally either isn't there or might not be correct. And some people with aphasia have trouble with gestures, like yes and no. The way that I realized that David's yes and no were wrong, I said to David, "Is this your nose?" Yes. Is this my nose? True. Yes. So I realized his gestures and yes and no, he was confused. But thumbs up or thumbs down, sometimes he did better. And initially, everything was challenging. Probably for you too, right?
1 year, all I can say was Michael. And I don't know who Michael is. But
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the entire first year, even with speech therapy, you struggled because you would say Michael, 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 and you couldn't say yes and no and Avi Golden in New York. Those words you couldn't say.
This is correct.
That's true. And then you continued speech therapy, right? You didn't give up.
In fact, today, I still go to speech pathology.
Okay.
All the time.
All the time.
4 days
Okay,
a week.
good. 4 times a week? Now, is your insurance covering that, or are you going to a college?
Insurance is Medicaid. After 1 year, I was a paramedic, so is a 1 year post-stroke is not Medicaid.
Medicare?
Is like a higher type, and then Medicaid for the rest of the day for a year.
Okay, so because you became disabled and couldn't work, now you're on a different type of insurance.
Yes.
Right.
Now it's Medicaid or Medicaid.
One of those. Some people will qualify for Medicare at a younger age. I know David's on Medicare, some are on Medicaid. It all depends on the individual situations. So something to look at. But Avi, when you go to therapy, are you in a program in a hospital like outpatient, or are you going to a college and working with students studying to be speech therapists?
So, 2 things. Number one, Adler Aphasia Center in New Jersey, twice a week, 4 hours a day, like for example Skype or Hot Topics or Advocacy, and then 3 days is Mona Greenfield is a speech pathology, and
Okay.
her students can work with me and a lot of people who have disability.
So that's a really great tip for people with aphasia. Actually, he gave 2 great tips. If you're fortunate to live in an area where there is an aphasia center, like Avi lives close enough to the Adler Aphasia Center in New Jersey, so he goes there 2 times a week for 4 hours at a time. And then he also is fortunate that he lives in a city that has a college that teaches people how to become speech and language therapists. So Avi can go there, and that way his therapy is actually free, isn't it, Avi?
Basically, and it's 6 hours a day. I mean, for me, but everybody is different.
Okay. And I think some colleges may have a fee. It might not be free everywhere, but if somebody listening lives near a college or a university, they could check and see if there was a speech language pathology department. Sometimes it might be called communication sciences or something different. And then call and ask if they take people as patients for practice for future speech and language pathology students. Am I understanding that right, Avi?
Yes, that's correct. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut have lots of college and university who has
I think you froze on the last word, at least on my screen. That's the advantages and disadvantages of the internet. So anyway, thank you so much, Avi, because I think you've given us some great tips. 1, tell the doctors and nurses, slow down. That's your right to be able to understand. Tell them to slow down. Two, you should have a paper and a pen or a whiteboard, or you can even have a whiteboard app on your phone where there's things that can be yes or no or thumbs up or thumbs down, because it's important to empower the person with aphasia to communicate. So is that an iPad?
Samsung, but it's close.
So like an iPad. So the technology for people with aphasia is really great, because even the simple whiteboard app that you can put on your phone or an Android or a Samsung or iPad, any kind of a tablet device, then the person can also draw what they need. I remember Christine telling the story of she was lying in the hospital at the Cleveland Clinic and she was really thirsty. She couldn't say, I'm thirsty. And nobody asked her, are you thirsty? So she could say, yes, I'm really thirsty. And so she lied there thirsty. And maybe even with a whiteboard app, even though at the time Christine couldn't spell, a lot of people lose their spelling in the beginning. You lost yours too, yeah, as did David. A lot of people do. But maybe she could have tried to draw a glass, like I need a drink. So I think helping people communicate with aphasia is all of our jobs. And we can't just rely on the people with aphasia navigating everything by themselves. So we all, doctors, nurses, family, friends, we're all part of the team to support people with aphasia. So anyway, Avi, I will chat with you again because you're always a wealth of knowledge, and I always learn something new every time I talk to you. So thank you so much, and we'll chat again.
I say thank you for everybody who has aphasia. Awesome! And Christine,
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for Christine, David, and Christine. No, how do you use the girl?
Kim?
Christine?
Sorry. Christine.
Yeah,
It's a bigger word. Mm-hmm.
Christine and David and you. Awesome time. I mean, it's amazing how you was said so going and trying to talk a lot. So awesome job for Christine, David, and blah blah.
Kim and Carol. Sometimes people say that, and I think it's because we get it, because we've lived it. David's stroke was 20 years ago, but I still remember those first 3 years as a loved one. I cried every single night. And David cried a lot. There's a lot of grief, and you don't know where to turn, and you feel like you're the only one. So we are absolutely delighted that ARC has taken a life of its own and is growing. And part of that's to people like you, Avi, letting people know that the Aphasia Recovery Connection is out there. And I should mention the website. It's www.aphasiarecoveryconnection.org. So we will talk again. Bye now.
Bye-bye.